Monday morning, everyone. Welcome back. You're watching the Kaiser Report. I'm John. I'm here to bring you today's news around the nation and an update on some old business that is still lying around and haunting the United States right now, such as the border. The border problems remain as they were, with no closures and no end in sight, which brings me to talk about what happened to a beautiful young lady, which was a nursing student in Georgia, that was brutally attacked and bludgeoned to death by an illegal alien that came out. It came to Georgia out of New York after the courts. He had been arrested in New York, and the courts just released him, as they do, and we saw that with the police beatings there. And he just traveled on down to Georgia and decided to try to get a job with an illegal green card, and didn't work out for him, so he just beat this poor nursing student to death. So someone is without a daughter, without a husband, without a wife, no grandchildren coming to their parents, but this ass is still alive and kicking. And what they're going to do with him now, we don't know, but I really do believe there should be some consequence here for this Venezuelan gatecrasher that got into this country through the Texas border, which Governor Abbott has now had to close on his own, with great backlash from the government, who wants these people still pouring in through the border, which they are. They just moved to California. They're going through the California side of the border. That said, we're going to go into what's looming again is another government shutdown, which the deadline is March 9th for, and we're still fooling around with a agreement to fund this government because of the attachments of money going to the Ukraine once more. For what reason, we don't know, because nothing that has been sent there has been accounted for. We have no idea where our monies, our taxpayer money, is being filtered to by the Ukraine. Zelensky is now over in Europe begging for more armaments and more military equipment to continue the war, because I guess they've lost everything or either sold it off that we've given them. But now he's begging Europe and the Scandinavian states for help. This is a war that's never going to come out the way they're portraying. If we keep giving them money, it will not work. We know this. We've seen this. It's not making any progress other than us funding more and more and more. And now we're going to shut our government down on March 9th because of bills. To pass the agreements, you have to fund the Ukraine. You have to defund Israel. You have to back the Palestinians. Well, the Palestinian leader has decided to step down as over this weekend due to pressure, and I'm sure that they're realizing in that region right now that the Palestinian people are suffering as a direct result of Hezbollah and Hamas, which are the terrorist groups that are controlling Palestine. Now let's get to the home front. New York governor has announced to the truckers that if they refuse to deliver shipments into New York, that she will garnish their trucks, their homes, their bank accounts, and lock everything down, because she views it as a non-humanitarian swipe at the immigration people that are in New York. So they're going to call it a hate crime against the illegal immigrants, which has nothing to do with the reason that the truckers are going there in the first place. It's this judge that gave out this absolutely stupid dollar amount that Trump has to come up with for a phony trial that was done without a jury. And the judge decided that these millions of dollars need to be paid to the state for no crime, no victim, and no trial. And this is what the truckers are talking about, not delivering goods to New York until this is straightened out. How you can call that a hate crime, I don't know. But Kathy Hochul feels that, she's just going to ruin these truckers' lives if they try this. Well, God bless them for even mentioning that they might do this. And I think that America is waking up to the fact that the news media and these Democratic-controlled states are lying to you about what the real truth of the matter is. So here we go. She must have called Trudeau and got his take on this because she wants to do the same thing that Canada did to stop the truck protests there. God bless our truckers, God bless our military, and God bless every citizen in this country. And we don't need the type of individuals that are crashing through the border to get anything extra. And there's no hate crime against them. It's just an illegal situation that we were put in as a direct result of the administration that sits in power in this country right now. On the other side of the news, on the Republican side of the news, Ronna McDaniels has decided to step down as chair of the GOP. I applaud that wholeheartedly. And if you think about it, it's about time. For those of you that don't know, she is related to Mitt Romney, and that should tell you a little something about why the GOP lost in the midterms and why they're angling right now not to protect the candidates that are running. Speaking of, let's go to the Nikki Haley camp. It was announced over the weekend that the Koch brothers will no longer be funding her campaign. That's a large donor that backed her, but I think that they have decided now that their money is better spent down ballot rather than backing her. And I can understand why, after a poor showing in her home state in the primaries and her rhetoric that she came out with, both anti her opponent and saying that we're all stupid if we don't vote for her and continue to vote for the other guy. The other guy is rolling on, and it is my true hope that he learns not to do the name-calling routine and say the things that he says that inflame people that may be sitting on the fence come election time on whether or not they will vote in favor of Donald J. Trump or someone else, because he has inflammatory rhetoric that he needs to put in his pocket and save it for a later date, because it's not doing him any good. It's not doing his campaign any good. And as I tell you all the time, I'm not backing one candidate or another, but I urge you all to listen to RFK Jr., and I urge you all to listen to anyone other than the Biden camp right now, because you cannot get a truthful word out of anybody connected with it, or anyone in the White House, or anyone in the Carnival cabinet that we have to look at on a daily basis. I understand that Tulsi Gabbard may have made some statements over the weekend, pretty much pointing to these things of this nature and pointing to the fact that we have a media that is so biased that you can't turn on legacy media in any fashion and get what the truth really is, or, for that matter, what's going on in and around the world, because they're focused on an agenda that is passed to them. And if you don't believe that, flip from channel to channel and you'll hear the exact same verbiage out of the mouths of each of these talking heads that are coming to you with tainted news. Okay, so the New York situation in their court systems there that will release someone like this Venezuelan refugee that's in this country. And I'm told now that he was an Uber driver for a while, and Uber Eats hired him, and Lyft, or one of those people. How did he get a job without a work permit, without a Social Security number? And why is New York bending over backwards to house and feed these people and give them benefits that we as citizens can't apply for or benefit from? Leaves a lot to be desired when you think about who's running our government. Well, on the other side of the coin, we're expecting some unusually warm weather here in the southern regions, which include the Appalachian region. We're coming into more rain is on its way, and we have a disturbed weather pattern with the jet stream rising and letting warm air in with some winds aloft that are at 25 to 40 miles an hour, while we're surface winds are 8 to 10. So we have some windy, rainy weather heading this way, but the good news is along with that come thunderstorms and warm weather. So spring is upon us, and I'd say that it's a little early this year, but we shouldn't go out and plant a whole bunch of stuff before May, because it can turn fast. As I've told you before, I've seen snow here in March, and I've seen snow here in April. So it can happen, but let's enjoy what warmth that we have, and coming out of the winter that has not been a very hard winter, but one that's been mild at best. We've had some hard freezes for maybe a week or so, but that'll continue on the way it is right now. I gave you a Sunday truck report yesterday. I hope you all enjoyed that. I was at a function the other night with a couple of young ladies that identify as Gen Z, and I was very encouraged to know that these young people are paying attention to what's going on around them, and waking up to the fact that we all need to awaken to the fact that we have hope still here, because people are recognizing that we've had 20-some years of disinformation pumped into us, and ill education and indoctrination by schools and school unions and the Department of Education, which in my estimation needs to be completely wiped out and restarted, because we've let education in this country, when we look at the fact that most schools up to the 8th grade cannot read at an 8th grade level, never mind do math, or let's just rule out trigonometry and chemistry on these kids, because they're not being taught these things. However, they're getting great sex education in the lower grades now and being told things that they should not be told. But some of the states are getting hold of that, and we have people waking up to the fact that this happened, and we laid back and watched it happen, and we thought it would rectify itself, but it doesn't. Our government is to blame. Our school unions are to blame. Our teachers need to be tested themselves on either a bi-yearly basis or at some point to find out what it is that they truly know how to teach and impart on the youth of America anymore. Because we're in some serious problems when we come to trades in this country. We have a shortage of electricians. We have a shortage of plumbers. We have a shortage of carpenters, auto mechanics, which are very, very highly specialized right now because of the computer chip systems that are in these automobiles, that you can no longer go change your own oil or change a spark plug or do a tune-up. Never mind, checking coil packs and all this. You need a computer education to work on some of these cars. And sophisticated systems such as this are important if we are to continue to have these vehicles on the road. The electric vehicles, they're being drawn back now, both on the production side by auto manufacturers, and I guess that Biden is now going to back off on his mandate that everybody goes to an electric car by, 2035 or 2030. That's not going to happen now because they've come to the realization not only do we not have the infrastructure for these automobiles, but a lot of people are just not happy that have gone out and purchased these vehicles and found out the drawbacks to owning one, which are a few here and there. But anyway, Joe Biden has made a ton of mistakes. The hearings continue, I guess, this week on the Biden crime family syndicate when they bring Hunter in behind the closed doors that they had the brother Jim last week, and Jordan came out of those meetings saying that they've been lied to and that Jim Biden's stories have changed between every time they talk to him. And this, their chief witness and partner in crime for the companies that Hunter ran, Bobolinsky, has told the same story over and over again. So they are leaning more to his being truthful and Jim Biden's not being so truthful. And we know that Hunter is probably incapable of coming up with anything truthful about his dealings and his father's dealings, not only with Burisma, but with China and a lot of other things that would ring kind of true with us thinking about his reticence to scold China or Iran or any of these countries. And why are we still dumping tons of money into the Ukraine when we know that it's being misused, as well as that there's no end result and there's no solution to this? So we can keep pouring our tax money into someone else's borders, or we can shut ours down like it's supposed to be. And in this budget skirmish that's going to go on now between the Senate and Congress up till March 9th, and they'll hang into an 11th hour deal where they come up with a stopgap measure. And I guarantee you it will include more money going to the Ukraine or some other foreign entity that we don't need to be funding. But other than that, not a lot to come to you with today other than all of that negative news. And as you see, I'd like to get over here to positive one more time for this week if we can. and I'm going to try and get out and get you some more travel info, and maybe I'm working on right now setting up an interview with one of the key realtors in Southwest Virginia, and we'll get a look at what's going on in the real estate market for real, not what the media will tell you is happening. I know that California, Dan at I Allegedly reports almost on a daily basis about foreclosures and real estate problems in California. But I believe that on the eastern side of things, where people have bailed out and gone to states with no income tax, such as Texas and Tennessee here. So we're going to get a look at that from the perspective of someone that's in the trenches on a daily basis doing real estate in this area, so we can get a balance of West Coast, East Coast, and what's happening and where people are migrating to that are leaving these blue states in the numbers that they are. So we're going to try and get that arranged this week, and we'll get that interview up and to you before too long. But until then, we're going to we'll be here on a daily basis talking to you and bringing you the latest and greatest of news, whether it's bad or good, that you need to hear. And we'll take my mainstream media's attempt at telling you what's really going on and pick through it through several avenues of social media and things of that nature, and then try to disseminate to you what you need to know. But I will I'll leave you with these warnings. The banks are not healthy right now. So if you're not in a good small town bank, you need to be looking at one. Do not pile all of your cash and holdings into one area, and do not use the stock market as a barometer for your wealth or your building of your wealth, because the stock market, in my estimation, is overinflated and being controlled to make you think everything is fine when it's not. And there's been some money taking. The day traders have done well last week, I guess. It was down a little going into the weekend, but I expect a big bounce back after the thrill of the chip makers' announcements last week drove everything up. So NASDAQ was the only thing that stayed down. But don't use it as a barometer to make your next investment. And if you're sitting on a home that you have equity in, do not go out and take equity loans against it at a higher interest rate, because if you're sitting on a 3% interest rate or better, stay with it. We'll find out about new home sales and what's going on, and resales, and people coming into the Appalachian region, and we'll get a realtor in here to interview, and we'll be coming to you with that very soon, along with other interviews of key people in this area and what's going on with them, both financially and otherwise. So until tomorrow, we're going to probably dance on out of here. And don't forget to please hit the like button, subscribe to this channel so we can bring you more and more content, and please share with your friends. And till tomorrow, I'm going to say bye-bye now.